They once said that machines would never think, that logic and emotion, creativity and decision-making were exclusively human domains. For centuries, even as we built increasingly complex machines, from mechanical looms to nuclear reactors, we believed there was a ceiling, a boundary machines could never cross. Intelligence, after all, was sacred. It belonged to us, but boundaries blur. In the early 21st century, a new kind of machine emerged, not one powered by gears or steam, but by data. Trained on everything humans had ever written, spoken, or imagined, these models began not just to calculate, but to understand it, or at least to simulate understanding with eerie accuracy. And so we stepped into an age where the tools we designed began designing tools themselves, where automation ceased to be mechanical and became cognitive. This was not an overnight revolution. Like all profound shifts, it crept in. First, it helped us write emails faster. Then it wrote them for us. It edited photos. Then it created them. It debugged our code. Then it generated it from scratch. In less than a decade, artificial intelligence went from a research frontier to a silent partner embedded in our workflows, our homes, and our thoughts. It is tempting to see this moment as unique, but history tells us that every era believed itself to be at the edge of something vast. When Gutenberg printed the Bible in the 15th century, people feared that too much access to information would shatter the order of society. When the steam engine powered the first factories, workers smashed the machines, fearing for their livelihoods. And when electricity lit up cities, philosophers wondered if darkness was more natural. Transformation always carries with it a double-edged feeling: awe and unease, hope and dread. So when we ask, what happens when AI does everything? We are not asking a technical question. We are asking a human one. Let's examine the anatomy of work. For most of human history, work was physical. We hunted, gathered, farmed, built. Then came the industrial age, and work shifted toward machines, factory lines, assembly processes, systems that demanded hands more than minds. The 20th century was the age of knowledge work: spreadsheets, reports, meetings, emails. The body relaxed, the mind engaged. Then came the digital era. The internet exploded the boundaries of location, time, and access. We moved from paper to screens, from files to clouds, from offices to anywhere. But now, the mind is no longer the exclusive engine of productivity. AI systems can mimic, and in many cases exceed, our ability to analyze, synthesize, and produce. That is the true shift. Think about this. The idea of working to earn a living is barely 200 years old. In pre-industrial societies, subsistence and survival were not jobs, they were life. You didn't have a job, you just lived, worked, contributed. The Industrial Revolution professionalized labor. You sold your time. Time became money. Now, with AI capable of performing cognitive tasks, the very idea of selling time is dissolving. If a machine can complete your task in seconds, what is your hour worth? This isn't just an economic disruption, it's existential. Imagine a world where your job, whatever it may be, is performed better, faster, and more consistently by an AI system. What do you do then? Maybe you pivot, you re-skill, but pivot to what exactly? When AI writes code, creates music, diagnoses illness, argues legal cases, and designs products, what is left? People once thought creativity would be the final frontier, that art, emotion, and inspiration would be forever human. But AI is composing symphonies, writing screenplays, generating novels. True, not all of it is good. Not yet. But what matters is not perfection. What matters is progress. And progress in the world of algorithms is exponential. The printing press didn't eliminate storytellers. It made stories more accessible. The camera didn't kill painting. It changed what we painted. The calculator didn't make math irrelevant. They made it faster. But those were tools that extended us. AI doesn't just extend, it replaces. That's a harsh word, but an honest one. In 2023, a designer used an AI tool to generate 10,000 logo concepts in an afternoon. A copywriter used a language model to write an entire ad campaign, headlines, body text, call to action, in 15 minutes. A solo developer shipped an app in a weekend using nothing but voice commands and code generation. This isn't science fiction. This is already routine. The irony is profound. The more efficient our tools become, the less needed we are in their operation. Efficiency, once the holy grail of productivity, is beginning to displace the producers. But perhaps this is not a crisis. Perhaps it is an invitation to rethink work itself. What if work is not about output, but about meaning? Let's take a moment to reflect on a historical parallel. The shift from horses to cars. Horses were once essential for transport, agriculture, even war. Then came the combustion engine. Within a few decades, horses became recreational, rare. Their purpose changed, but they didn't disappear. In a similar way, as AI systems take over functional tasks, humans may move toward intentional tasks, not what must be done, but what we choose to do. This is more than semantics. It is the difference between obligation and curiosity. Still, transitions are never smooth. We are entering a liminal space, a threshold between eras. In this space, old systems are failing, but new systems are not yet fully formed. Governments struggle to regulate AI. Schools grapple with AI-generated homework. Workplaces rewrite job descriptions monthly. And workers everywhere ask, am I still relevant? The answer for now is yes, but relevance is shifting. It's no longer about being the fastest calculator, the sharpest analyst, the most consistent performer. Machines own those traits now. Human relevance is moving towards synthesis, the ability to connect disparate ideas, toward emotion, the ability to feel and empathize, and toward ethics, the ability to ask not just what can be done, but what should be done. What makes us human may no longer be our utility. It may be our unpredictability, our irrational hope, our chaotic kindness. As AI becomes more predictable, we may find our value in being surprising. History shows us that every great transformation creates new roles. The printing press created publishers. The automobile created mechanics. The internet created digital marketers. What will AI create? Perhaps new jobs that don't exist yet. Prompt engineers, AI ethicists, synthetic content auditors, human experience designers, reality validators. These sound strange now. But so did software developer in 1950. So did social media strategist in 2005. We are still at the beginning. The question is not whether there will be jobs. The question is whether we are ready to let go of the idea that jobs define us. This shift challenges one of the most deeply ingrained concepts of modern society, the connection between work and identity. For centuries, our professions have been more than just ways to pay the bills. They have shaped how we see ourselves and how society sees us. We are teachers, engineers, artists, caregivers, and entrepreneurs, titles that carry meaning beyond tasks performed. But as AI increasingly assumes many of these roles, what happens to the human identity tied to them? In the past, revolutions of labor have always been about displacement and reinvention. When mechanized looms replaced handweavers, entire communities faced upheaval. Yet new industries emerged and new identities formed. But the difference now is the scale and speed of change. The displacement is not just physical labor, but intellectual and creative work, areas once thought inviolable. Look at how AI-powered language models have transformed writing and communication. Novels, journalism, marketing copy, all are increasingly co-created or entirely generated by machines. This transformation brings efficiency and scale, but raises fundamental questions. Who is the author? What is originality? And crucially, what is the role of human creativity when a machine can generate content on demand? In a historical context, this challenge echoes the early reactions to photography in the 19th century. Painters feared that mechanical reproduction would devalue their art. Yet photography didn't kill painting. It liberated it to explore new styles: Impressionism, Cubism, abstract. Similarly, AI's creative outputs might not replace human creativity, but redirect it toward realms machines cannot yet penetrate: deeply personal expression, nuanced storytelling, and emotional resonance. But there is another facet to consider: education. How will we prepare future generations for a world where cognitive tasks are automated? Traditional schooling emphasizes knowledge acquisition and skill mastery. However, with instant access to information and AI assistance, the emphasis may need to shift toward critical thinking, adaptability, and ethical judgment. Already, some educational institutions experiment with AI tutors that personalize learning paths for each student. These systems analyze strengths, weaknesses, and learning styles, optimizing curricula for maximum engagement and retention. While this technology offers promising possibilities, it also disrupts the traditional role of teachers as knowledge gatekeepers. Teachers must increasingly become facilitators of learning experiences and mentors who nurture creativity, curiosity, and character. In parallel, the labor market itself is evolving. The gig economy has blurred the lines between full-time employment and freelance work, and AI threatens to accelerate this fragmentation. Tasks will become more modular, distributed, and automated, leading to flexible but precarious work arrangements. Workers may no longer belong to single companies or professions, but act as curators and orchestrators of AI-generated outputs. Such a future requires robust social safety nets. Universal Basic Income, UBI, has moved from fringe policy to mainstream discussion as a potential response to widespread automation. The idea is simple: decouple income from labor, ensuring everyone a basic standard of living regardless of employment status. Pilot programs worldwide have demonstrated mixed but largely positive social impacts: reduced stress, improved health, and increased entrepreneurship. Yet UBI raises questions about motivation, societal contribution, and the meaning of purpose. If survival is guaranteed, what drives people to pursue ambitions? Historically, necessity has been a powerful motivator, but human aspiration also springs from passion, curiosity, and the desire to create. Without the constraints of survival, society might witness an explosion of innovation and exploration, or alternatively, a crisis of meaning. Another dimension is mental health. Studies show that unemployment and job insecurity correlate with increased anxiety and depression. Transitioning to a future where traditional jobs are scarce could exacerbate these issues. However, it might also lead to new forms of fulfillment, such as community engagement, arts, volunteering, and lifelong learning. Historically, humans have always sought meaning beyond labor. Philosophers, artists, and spiritual leaders remind us that purpose is multifaceted. Work is one path, but connection, growth, and contribution to others are equally vital. Technology also offers tools for enhancing these pursuits. Virtual reality, augmented reality, and neural interfaces promise immersive experiences that could deepen empathy, creativity, and social bonds. AI companions might become emotional support, collaborators, or even co-creators, redefining human relationships. At the societal level, governance will play a critical role. Policymakers face unprecedented challenges, regulating AI to prevent misuse, ensuring equitable distribution of benefits, preserving privacy and autonomy, and fostering inclusive innovation. International cooperation will be essential as AI transcends borders and impacts global dynamics. Moreover, ethical considerations loom large. AI systems reflect the values of their creators and data sources. Bias, misinformation, and manipulation are real threats. Transparency, accountability, and public engagement must guide AI development to align with human well-being. Consider the philosophical implications. If AI achieves or surpasses human-level intelligence, what rights, responsibilities, and status should such entities have? The concept of personhood may expand or need re-evaluation. Humanity's definition of life, consciousness, and agency could shift dramatically. Yet amid these vast changes, one constant remains: our capacity to adapt and innovate. The human story is one of resilience. From hunter-gatherers to space explorers, From oral traditions to digital civilizations, we have continually reinvented ourselves. The next chapter promises both challenges and opportunities. Embracing AI's potential while safeguarding human dignity requires deliberate choices. It calls for new narratives, not of fear or dominance, but of partnership and transformation. As we stand at this crossroads, the question is no longer whether AI will change everything, but how we will change with it. What values will we uphold? What future will we co-create? The last human job may well be this, the architect of our own metamorphosis. To understand the magnitude of the transformation before us, it helps to look back at previous technological revolutions, not just in terms of their inventions, but their social and cultural consequences. The Industrial Revolution, for example, did more than mechanize production. It reshaped cities, altered family structures, and redefined human rhythms of work and rest. Entire classes emerged and disappeared. Workers who once produced by hand became factory operators. Artisans became mass producers or labor organizers. Similarly, the digital revolution did more than digitize information. It rewrote communication, commerce, and creativity. It gave rise to the internet, social media, and a global village of interconnected minds. It created unprecedented access to knowledge, but also new challenges: information overload, privacy erosion, and a fragmented sense of reality. Now, the AI revolution promises to be even more disruptive, touching not only how we work and create, but how we think, learn, and relate to one another. It challenges the very concept of human uniqueness. Consider the cognitive processes we've long associated with consciousness: language, reasoning, learning, intuition. AI systems have begun to replicate many of these functions with startling proficiency. Neural networks trained on vast datasets can identify patterns and generate novel outputs that were once thought to require human insight. But can AI truly understand? The philosophical question remains unresolved. AI models simulate understanding through statistical correlation, not subjective experience. This distinction is critical because it underscores the difference between intelligence as computation and intelligence as consciousness. For humanity, the implications are profound. If machines become indistinguishable in conversation, creativity, or decision-making, what distinguishes human thought? Is it consciousness, emotions, moral judgment, or something deeper, a sense of self? This is not merely an academic debate. It influences how society integrates AI technologies and the roles humans adopt alongside them. One emerging concept is augmented intelligence, rather than artificial intelligence. Here, AI is viewed not as a competitor, but as an enhancer of human capabilities, a tool that amplifies our strengths and compensates for our limitations. In medicine, for example, AI can analyze millions of medical images in moments, assisting doctors in diagnosing diseases with greater accuracy. But it cannot replace the empathy and nuanced judgment of a physician. Instead, it extends the doctor's reach. In creativity, AI might draft a screenplay or compose a symphony, but human artists infuse work with personal experience, cultural context, and emotional depth. The challenge is balancing automation with augmentation, efficiency with humanity. Yet, the trajectory is not guaranteed. The path we take depends on choices: ethical, political, and economic. Let's examine the economic dimension. AI-driven automation threatens to concentrate wealth and power among a few who control the technology. Without intervention, inequality could deepen, social unrest could increase, and democratic institutions could weaken. This is not speculation. Data already shows that the benefits of technological progress have disproportionately accrued to the top echelons of society. The winner-takes-all dynamics of digital platforms and AI development risk replicating or intensifying these patterns. Counteracting this requires intentional policies: progressive taxation, investment in education and retraining, public ownership, or stewardship of key technologies, and frameworks ensuring AI's benefits are broadly shared. Furthermore, global cooperation is critical. AI development transcends national borders, making unilateral regulation insufficient. International standards on safety, ethics, and transparency will be essential to prevent arms races and misuse. On the cultural front, AI forces a reckoning with human creativity and authenticity. As AI-generated content floods media channels, distinguishing human-generated work may become challenging. This raises questions about cultural value, copyright, and trust. Who owns AI-generated art or music? Can AI-created news be trusted? How do we preserve diversity of thought and expression in an age of algorithmic homogenization? One hopeful avenue is that AI could democratize creativity, lowering barriers for those previously excluded from artistic or intellectual domains. By providing tools accessible to all, AI can empower new voices and perspectives, but vigilance is needed to avoid new gatekeepers, corporate or algorithmic, that limit diversity or reinforce biases. Socially, the integration of AI into daily life may reshape interpersonal relationships. Virtual assistants and AI companions can alleviate loneliness and provide support, but risk replacing human connection if over-relied upon. This tension echoes early fears around television and social media, tools meant to connect, but sometimes isolating. Mental health and societal cohesion will depend on finding balance, fostering genuine community alongside technological convenience. Looking toward the future, some envision radical transformations, fully autonomous cities, AI-driven governments, neural interfaces blending human and machine consciousness. While speculative, these possibilities challenge foundational notions of sovereignty, agency, and reality. Science fiction has long explored such themes, but today, what once was fiction edges toward feasibility. Ethics must keep pace. Questions about consent, privacy, free will, and identity will define the coming decades. Will AI systems make decisions about life and death, such as in autonomous vehicles or military drones? How do we ensure accountability? How do we protect individual rights in an AI-mediated world? These questions demand multidisciplinary collaboration. Philosophers, technologists, lawmakers, and citizens alike must engage. Returning to the present, individuals can prepare by cultivating skills that machines struggle with: creativity, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, ethical reasoning, and lifelong learning. Adaptability will be essential. The ability to navigate ambiguity, to learn new tools, and to collaborate with AI systems will define employability. At the same time, nurturing human connection and well-being will counterbalance the risks of alienation. Ultimately, the last human job may not be a task or profession but a responsibility: to steward humanity's transition, to ask the hard questions, and to ensure technology serves us, not the other way around. This is our metamorphosis, not just surviving the technological change, but consciously evolving alongside it. The future will be shaped not only by algorithms and machines, but by human values, choices, and imagination, and that is a job unlike any other. As we venture deeper into the 21st century, another transformative frontier comes into focus: quantum computing. While artificial intelligence redefines cognition, quantum computers promise to revolutionize computation itself. Unlike classical computers that process information in binary bits, zeros and ones, quantum computers operate with qubits, which can exist in multiple states simultaneously thanks to superposition. This property, combined with entanglement, a phenomenon where qubits become interdependent regardless of distance, enables quantum machines to perform complex calculations at speeds unfathomable for classical systems. What does this mean for the future? Quantum computing has the potential to break encryption methods currently securing global communications, challenging digital security and privacy. It can optimize complex systems, from supply chains and traffic flows to drug discovery and climate modeling, with unprecedented precision. The fusion of quantum computing and AI may unlock new dimensions of problem-solving, accelerating scientific breakthroughs. However, these advances come with risks. The power of quantum computers in the wrong hands could destabilize economies and national security. The race to build viable quantum machines has geopolitical implications, raising concerns about a quantum arms race reminiscent of nuclear proliferation. While fully scalable quantum computers remain in development, the implications force us to reconsider how we protect information, design algorithms, and govern technology. Amid these rapid advances, a question arises: what about the future of physical mobility? Will flying cars, long a staple of futurism, ever become part of our daily reality? The idea of personal aerial vehicles has captivated imaginations for decades. Technological progress in electric propulsion, battery density, autonomous navigation, and lightweight materials has brought us closer to this vision. Several companies have developed prototype flying taxis and drones designed to carry passengers short distances, promising to alleviate urban congestion and transform transportation. Yet significant hurdles remain: regulatory frameworks, safety, standards, noise pollution, infrastructure requirements, and energy consumption. Beyond technical challenges, there are social and ethical considerations about accessibility, environmental impact, and urban planning. The future of flying cars may therefore be incremental and hybrid rather than revolutionary. We might see a gradual integration of autonomous drones, air taxis, and electric vertical takeoff and landing, eVTOL vehicles, complementing existing transportation networks. Looking beyond the mechanical, the future of human mobility might extend to brain-computer interfaces, BCIs. These devices establish direct communication pathways between the brain and external systems, enabling control of computers, prosthetics, or even communication through thought alone. Leading companies and research institutions are advancing BCIs, exploring applications in medicine, such as restoring movement for paralyzed individuals and beyond. Some envision future interfaces enhancing cognition, memory, or sensory experience, effectively merging biological and digital intelligence. While promising, BCIs raise profound questions about privacy, identity, and autonomy. Who owns or controls neural data? How do we prevent misuse or coercion? These challenges underscore the need for ethical frameworks alongside technological progress. Another emerging frontier is synthetic biology. Advances in gene editing, DNA synthesis, and cellular engineering open possibilities to redesign living organisms, to cure diseases, create sustainable materials, or even engineer new life forms. This scientific revolution blurs boundaries between technology and biology, challenging philosophical and ethical norms. How do we define life? What responsibilities come with creating or modifying organisms? Could synthetic biology help address climate change or food security, or could it introduce unforeseen ecological risks? The future is rich with potential, yet laden with complexity. In navigating this landscape, humanity faces a choice: pursue progress with foresight and responsibility, or rush forward recklessly, risking unintended consequences. Technology itself is neutral. Its impact depends on human intent and governance. One hopeful trend is the rise of collaborative innovation ecosystems, where diverse stakeholders, including marginalized communities, participate in shaping technology's direction. This inclusive approach can foster solutions aligned with broad societal needs rather than narrow interests. Education will be critical in empowering individuals to engage meaningfully in this future. Beyond STEM skills, cultivating ethical literacy, systems thinking, and intercultural understanding will prepare societies to adapt and thrive. As AI, quantum computing, and biotechnology converge, the boundaries between the digital, physical, and biological worlds will blur. This convergence heralds a future where intelligence, mobility, and life itself become malleable and programmable. Such transformations invite us to revisit foundational questions about what it means to be human. How do we preserve dignity, creativity, and freedom in an age of intelligent machines and engineered life? How do we ensure technology amplifies human flourishing rather than diminishes it? Answering these questions requires humility, imagination, and collective action. History teaches us that no era of change is without conflict and uncertainty, yet it also shows that progress is possible when guided by shared values and a commitment to the common good. As we close this part of our exploration, remember that the future is not predetermined. It is a canvas upon which we paint with the choices we make today. The metamorphosis of humanity is underway, and its shape depends on us. Building on the convergence of AI, quantum computing, and biotechnology, it is vital to explore how these technologies will reshape global governance and geopolitics. As the pace of technological change accelerates, traditional institutions, national governments, international organizations, regulatory bodies struggle to keep up. New paradigms are emerging, demanding novel frameworks for cooperation, conflict resolution, and ethical oversight. Cybersecurity, for instance, has become a frontline issue in global diplomacy. AI-driven cyber attacks can be sophisticated, rapid, and devastating, targeting critical infrastructure such as power grids, financial systems, and communication networks. Quantum computing's potential to crack existing encryption standards amplifies these risks. Nations must collaborate on cybersecurity norms, treaties, and rapid response mechanisms to prevent escalation into armed conflict. At the same time, technology-enabled surveillance and data collection raise profound questions about privacy and civil liberties. Authoritarian regimes can leverage AI to monitor and control populations at unprecedented scales, while democratic societies wrestle with balancing security and freedom. The future of governance depends on safeguarding human rights amid these pressures. Another geopolitical dimension involves the competition for technological dominance. Countries investing heavily in AI research, quantum development, and biotechnologies aim to secure economic and military advantages. This race fuels innovation, but also risks entrenching divides between tech haves and have-nots, exacerbating global inequality. Bridging this gap requires international collaboration on technology transfer, capacity building, and inclusive innovation. It also demands rethinking intellectual property regimes to balance incentives with equitable access. The rise of AI-powered autonomous weapons systems adds urgency to these conversations. The prospect of machines making lethal decisions independently challenges existing legal and moral frameworks. Calls for global bans or regulations on killer robots reflect widespread concern, but face obstacles in enforcement and consensus. Meanwhile, the digital economy is reshaping labor markets worldwide. Automation displaces routine jobs, but creates demand for new roles in AI oversight, data science, and creative industries. Lifelong learning and flexible social policies become essential to support workers through transitions. Culturally, societies must grapple with shifting norms around identity and community. As AI curates personalized content, echo chambers and misinformation can deepen polarization. Building digital literacy and promoting open dialogue are critical to maintaining social cohesion. On a philosophical level, these changes challenge us to reconsider the nature of power and agency. If algorithms influence decisions from creditworthiness to criminal sentencing, who is accountable? Transparency and explainability in AI systems are crucial for trust and justice. Simultaneously, emerging technologies offer unprecedented tools for civic engagement. Participatory platforms, AI-driven policy simulations, and open data initiatives can empower citizens to shape governance dynamically and inclusively. In this evolving landscape, education remains a cornerstone. Beyond technical skills, fostering ethical reasoning, empathy, and global awareness equips individuals to navigate complexities thoughtfully. Looking further ahead, speculative scenarios envision forms of governance augmented by AI, hybrid systems where humans and machines collaborate in decision-making. Such models could enhance efficiency and fairness, but require careful design to preserve human values and prevent technocratic dominance. The ultimate question is how humanity envisions its collective future. Will technology be a means to deepen democracy, justice, and sustainability, or will it concentrate power and erode freedoms? Our ability to answer hinges on proactive engagement, inclusive dialogue, and the courage to shape a future aligned with shared aspirations. The metamorphosis underway is as much political and cultural as it is technological. It calls for a renewed social contract that embraces complexity, diversity, and the interdependence of all life on Earth. As individuals, communities, and nations, our challenge is to steer this transformation with wisdom and compassion. The future will be written not only by code and hardware, but by human hearts and minds committed to creating a world worthy of the next era. That was it for today's deep dive into the intertwined futures of technology, society, and governance. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the possibilities and challenges shaping our world. We'll be back soon with another episode exploring new frontiers, whether it's the unfolding mysteries of quantum computing, breakthroughs in artificial intelligence, or visions of tomorrow's cities and societies. Until then, keep questioning, keep imagining, and stay curious about the metamorphosis that surrounds us all. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. You can also follow us on social media for more insights and behind-the-scenes content. This is Project Metamorphosis signing off. Take care and see you next time.